Hello, fifth graders. We're ready to read more out of The Invention of Hugo Cabret. Today we'll be reading chapter 3 called The Plan. Hugo had helped Isabel hobble out of the bedroom, and now they sat shaking at the kitchen table. He got some ice for her foot, and the two of them remained silent, trying to nurse their wounds. Eventually, Isabel's godmother came out of the bedroom. Are those really Papa George's drawings? Why didn't I ever know he was an artist? Quiet, Isabel. Just tell me how your foot feels. It hurts. And your hand, Hugo? He shrugged. Oh, my house has suddenly turned into a hospital ward. The old woman shook her head and tried to laugh, but she sat down at the table with them and began to cry. What's going on? Asked Isabel. Why are those drawings hidden in the armoire? Why did Papa George get so upset when he saw them? Can't you see the damage that's already been done, Isabel? Papa George is developing a fever. Who knows how long it's going to last? There's nothing more to say. You stole my key. You broke into my armoire. You're as bad as this thief here. I don't want the two of you to see each other again. Do you hear me? You can stay here until the morning, Hugo. I'll call the doctor to look at you and Isabel and George, and then I want you gone. She ripped up some strips of fabric and made a makeshift bandage for Hugo's hand and Isabel's foot. She wrapped them as tight as she could. I'm sorry, Mama Jeanne. Please don't be mad. We just wanted to... Hush, it's bedtime. Hugo, there's the couch. Come, Isabel. I'll help you to your bedroom. But Hugo didn't sleep on the couch. A plan formed in his mind, and as soon as Isabel and her godmother had left the room and gone to sleep, he tiptoed to the coat hooks by the door. The old man's coat was hanging there, and Hugo fished in his pockets. He heard a jangling sound and found what he was looking for. He took the ring of keys, left the house, and walked back to the train station in the dark. Hugo headed straight for the shuttered toy booth. He made sure that no one was around, and then he tried all the keys on the ring until he found the one that opened the booth. He stepped inside and began going through the boxes, opening drawers and flipping through papers the old man kept back there. But there were no clues. Hugo had been hoping that perhaps there might have been some scraps of paper to help him figure out what it was the old man was keeping a secret, something in the booth he had never noticed before. Hugo did find one curious item, though, wrapped in a piece of fabric at the very back of a drawer. So this is the mouse that Hugo has repaired. Hugo didn't know why the old man had kept the blue mouse. He had always assumed the toy had been sold a long time ago. Hugo liked that he kept it, though. He found himself smiling as he turned the blue mouse over in his hands. Hugo thought about the little mechanical parts inside the mouse, as well as the other toys that he had stolen and used to fix the automaton. He had never really stopped to consider why the pieces from the old man's toys fit so well into the mechanical man. Hugo wrapped up the mouse and returned it to the drawer. As he turned to leave, he saw one of Isabel's books tucked into a corner of the booth. That gave him an idea. Hugo returned to his room and was relieved to see the mechanical man still sitting in the center of the floor. He managed to drag it back into its hiding place, grimacing in pain the whole time. He wrapped it up once again in the old piece of fabric and covered the hiding place with boxes. When he finished, he glanced over at the shelf with his bucket of tools, and his heart pounded. He hadn't realized until this moment the trouble he was in. It was his right hand that had been injured, and there was no way he could take proper care of the clocks without it. Soon they would begin breaking down, and the station inspector would investigate, and it would all be over. Hugo lay down on his bed and rested his bandaged hand on his chest. Images flashed across his mind. So these are like dreams that he's having. Clocks, his father, the automaton, fire, the old man, the automaton, the old man, Isabel, clocks, Some creepy hand. Hugo saw the white, crooked fingers of the station inspector reaching for him. They turned into long, ragged claws and grabbed him violently by the arm. Hugo woke up screaming. He hadn't even realized he had fallen asleep. Morning came, and Hugo gathered up his tools and tried to do his morning rounds. Eyes closed, head tilted to the side, he listened to the clocks. But without the use of both hands, he could barely wind them. And so he oiled and observed as much as possible, and anxiously compared the clocks with the railroad watch. Time was running out. As soon as he saw Monsieur Labassé open up his shop, Hugo ran over. The bell above the door jangled as he entered. Monsieur Labassé was still removing his coat when he turned and saw Hugo. "You're Isabel's friend, aren't you? What happened to your hand?" Hugo moved his hand behind his back. "I need to ask you a question, sir. I need to find out information about something. Do you have books about the movies?" "I might. What about the very first movies?" "My father saw a movie when he was little that he always remembered. It had a rocket going into the eye of the man in the moon." Hugo thought the movie was a good place to begin his search for clues. That sounds intriguing," Monsieur Labassé said as he straightened his tie and stood up. "Come, young man." Hugo followed him to the shelf and waited while he looked through the books. He pulled out several volumes, glanced in the table of contents, and then closed the books and put them back. No, nothing about very early movies, I'm sorry." Hugo thanked him and headed out the door. Where could he turn next? The bookstore had been his big inspiration. "You might have more luck at the Film Academy Library," said Monsieur Labassé. Hugo spun around. "Where's that?" Monsieur Labassé gave Hugo directions, and Hugo thanked him and ran out of the shop. And that is the end of that chapter, which is a perfect place to stop. Thank you guys for listening today.